pitcher throwing the ball, the batter standing up batting the ball. Everybody's out in the field waiting to catch the ball. Yeah, but little baby can do that, man. I play baseball. You need a midnight league baseball team. It's too hot, and you need somebody with gumption, Gumption, to get this long-legged smack daddy male we got in New Orleans to start a midnight baseball league. Thank you.
Sid from Gentilly. Midnight baseball. All right, first time I've heard of that one, Sid. We'll credit you with that idea. All right, one more call before our special guest joins us. He's got gumption. Adam in Pearl River. How you doing, Adam? Good morning.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah, I just wanted to give you and the listeners a quick gist of what's being spoken about in terms of Common Core by the teachers and principals and some of the supervisors in the school system. And that is this. They're viewing Common Core, although it's not spoken of a lot lately, or yet anyway, but they're viewing it as a precursor to a multi-track educational system such as existed in Soviet Russia and Nazi Germany, whereby students will be monitored down to minutia in terms of their behavior, how they approach every social aspect of their lives, etc. And it will be noted how compliant they are, how fast they hold to the principles learned at home versus those learned in school, etc., etc. And based on that, and academic abilities as well, they will be put into a career track that the school system and the government feel suits them best. This is where it's all headed. We're only seeing the head of it right now. And that's the general feeling based on the things they feel like they're required to be observing about kids and such. And
so we ain't,
somewhat,
in the famous words of Ronald Reagan, we ain't seen nothing yet, huh?
That's right. That's the general feeling, and that's from teachers and principals, the people on the line who are going to be required to keep these records in minutia form about every breath every student takes. And of course, as they said, if the government has a need in a particular area, say for a carpenter, it won't make any difference what abilities that child has. The government's need will always supersede the child's future and the desires of the parent. So let's keep an eye on Common Core.
That sounds like what they used to do in communists like East Germany, you know?
Exactly.
Wow, that's scary. All right, my friend, that's Adam in Pearl River. Appreciate it. When we come back, Steve Sabludowsky joins us, publisher of Bayoubuzz.com. Our Ringside All-Star checks in with us on Tuesdays. A lot to go over. We'll take more of your phone calls, but first, a brief timeout.
Hey, New Orleans, the best Chinese food in the city, Trey Yen in Mandeville and Trey Yen in Hammond. Traditional Chinese dishes and excellent Louisiana seafood-inspired Chinese dishes. You want to eat the best Chinese food in New Orleans? Trey Yen on the North Shore.
Do you want a shoring contractor who doesn't just take the easy jobs? Hi, this is Justin Rubion. For over 100 years, Rubion Shoring has been an innovator in the shoring, house raising, and moving industry. Call the Rubion hotline today, 504-269-9909.
Hi, all you outdoorsmen. Join me, J.C. Smith, for the Bayou Sportsman Show, Thursday nights at 7 p.m. here on WGSO 990 AM and at WGSO.com.
Hi, Eric Asher, host of Inside New Orleans. For the best interviews in New Orleans radio with the newsmakers and the newsbreakers, join me 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on 990 WGSO.
A college student was complaining to her mother about how hard an upcoming exam was going to be. But she decided to study especially hard for the test, and for 3 straight days she studied, mastering material. Later she told her mother, "I don't know why I bothered studying so much. This was the easiest test I've ever taken." Well, it's been my observation that people who are prepared for life's problems really don't think life is very problematic. Yes, they have problems like everyone, but they're prepared. and they get prepared by studying the Bible, where life, its problems, and solutions are thoroughly explained. This is David Jeremiah, encouraging you to get on the road to new life. Discover God's solutions on Route 66.
Route 66, driving the word home. Log on to Route66Life.com. Start your journey home today.
You face many questions and uncertainties in life. This is Ralph Leopold. Join me for Your Money, Your Life.
Tuesdays at 5 on WGSO 990 AM.
And we can talk about it.
There is no other radio show where you'll be able to express yourself without hearing, "We thank you for your call," and before you make your point. That's what Ringside Politics with a Punch is all about. Give Jeff Crouere a call at 556-9696.
Hey, welcome back, and it's been a busy morning so far, lots going on. Time for more of your calls at 504-556-9696, and we're joined also by a special guest. He's our Ringside All-Star, checks in with us on Tuesdays. Publisher of BayouBuzz.com, Steve Sabludowsky is with us, and Steve, good morning. Steve, are you there? And we seem to maybe have lost Steve. So, Daryl, if you could try to rearrange the feed, see if we can get Steve back on. In the meantime, let's take some calls. 504-556-9696. And we've got next in line our friend Paul in Kenner. Hey, Paul, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. I'm calling mainly to ask if you have received this information in the mail from Radio America, also called American Studies Center.
Okay.
Radio America.
No, fill us in if you could.
Yes, I will. I'll send this to you. It shows a picture on the back that's pretty scary. Shows a priest being attacked, but anyway, what the basic information is in it, that conservative radio stations like you and out west especially are being shut down one after another. It's an attack on the free speech of America, I think I'd call it.
Shut down by who?
I guess by some of the background government. Some of our top people. I'll send you this information and you can check it out.
Era, isn't it, Paul? I mean, goodness sakes. Well, please send it to me. I wasn't aware. And tell me the group again.
Rudy and,
what group is this that we're talking about?
Oh, it's American.
Talk radio. It seems like constantly we're involved with one threat or another. Have to worry about what's happening here on the airwaves. And speaking of now on the airwaves, do we have Steve Sabludowsky back with us? Steve, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right. Welcome back, sir. Good to have you on. And Steve, a lot going on, of course. Folks will be able to check this out at BayouBuzz.com, also at WGSO.com. Obviously, a sad passing of two friends. One, of course, a well-known Louisiana political commentator, John Maginnis, and the other, a hard-charging activist who was frequent guest on this program, Margie Seaman, passing away. I know you wrote a piece about John Maginnis, and he really was the dean of Louisiana political commentators, wouldn't you say, Steve?
Yes, definitely. I think so. In fact, the comment I wrote yesterday is that he was the soul of Louisiana politics, and the reason I say that is because he understood it. He lived it, breathed it for 40 years. He knew the players. He knew where the skeletons were. He knew the skeletons themselves, and so that really says a lot. I think that a lot of people who follow politics would read what he had to say every day, and so I think it's a great loss.
Yeah, and he obviously was busy up until his death. I mean, he's been working on columns and projects. I know he's been active over the past year, so really he'll be sorely missed as far as his analysis on Louisiana politics. Speaking of Louisiana politics, I know you wanted to talk about sort of an interesting exchange between a guy who does a great job covering it, Tyler Bridges, and Governor Jindal.
Yeah, actually, and when we get back, I guess, from the break, I'll be able to do it a lot better because of the little, I guess, broadcast issue we just had. I lost the page. But basically, last week, Tyler Bridges, who writes for The Lens, he had an opportunity to ask Governor Jindal a question or a series of questions, and if you go to WGSO-Bayoubuzz, you'll be able to see the actual narrative, the actual transcript of the conversation or quasi-conversation that Tyler Bridges had with the governor. And basically, and I'm just summarizing, Tyler Bridges started the Q&A, and this was at a Senate committee hearing, I understand, or at least there was a press conference that the governor had, and essentially Tyler Bridges said that the session was going well, but he said, a lot of your allies and those people who are not your allies are really concerned because because of your being away, and how do you answer that? And so the governor just said, yeah, I agree, we're having a great session, and he went on to talk about how great of a session we were having and his administration is having this year, and how well the economy is doing, and so on. And so Tyler went on to say, well, but you're not answering the question. And the question was clearly, hey, what about what the concerns that even the allies have? And so the governor would not answer the question, in my opinion. And then I thought pretty got kind of snippy and said to Tyler, well, look, and again, I'm just paraphrasing, but essentially said, well, Tyler, you work for a paper that's online, and you have plenty of room to write things that are positive about the state and the administration, and so the conversation I just thought was really absurd, and I just honestly, truly. It just reminded me of the question I had with the governor about 5-6 years ago during the course of the legislative pay raise issue, where I asked the governor at the time, I said I asked him a question, and he just absolutely refused to answer the question. Instead, he went on to his what I call his three-peat, and where he says what he wants to say, and doesn't respond to the questions that are being asked. And so that's really, I think, what he did here. And I just think it's a real shame, because I think the question that was asked by Tyler was a legitimate question. That is, why is it that your allies are concerned about your being away? And is the session going as well as everybody would like?
Yeah, well, he's not used to getting a lot of tough questions. He doesn't do a lot of press conferences, does he? I mean, he doesn't really exchange with media very often, does he? So
No,
I know
yeah, go on.
Yeah, he does a lot of, I guess, national interviews, and in most cases, they really don't know what's going on in Louisiana.
Right, and that's exactly it. And it's certainly, I mean, I think it was a great opportunity for the governor to have a decent exchange about an issue about his absence from the state. And unfortunately, he did not.
Well, I mean, you don't want to tell the truth, which is, yeah, I've been out a lot, and you ain't seen nothing yet, because I'm going to be out a lot more as we get closer to 2016. I mean, that's the truth.
Well, the thing is that what it was, I understand what you're saying, and I agree, but taking a position of the governor for a second. Now, what he said was, like we have the lowest unemployment in the South, that we have the most jobs in Louisiana ever, and we have $50 billion in projects in the pipeline. So I think there's a lot to be said about all of that, and there's no question. And I think that he could have said that in a way where it wasn't as again as snippy as evasive.
Right.
But I will say this, that I remember when he used to say we had $70 billion in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's $50 billion, and I'm just wondering what happened to the other $20 billion.
Well, when you're dealing with phony numbers, I guess it's easy to lose track of $20 billion. So.
Yeah, I mean $20 billion here and there.
Right. All right, let's take some calls. Steve Sabludowsky with us, Jeff Crouere here. It's ringside to be a GSO. Come join us, 504-556-9696. You can see this telecast live at BayouBuzz.com via Google Hangout. Let's go to our friend John in Mandeville. Hey, John, good morning.
Good morning, good morning. So Jindal did it again, huh? But that's not why I called. I respect both of your opinions, and I'd like to just mention one quick thing, which I think is an abomination because I have a handicapped younger brother who's not on this particular program because our family takes care of him. But Jack Donahue, I know you both know this, and I'm just repeating this for the people that haven't read it yet, transferred $4.5 million from the handicap fund to the new racing track on the West Bank, which makes me absolutely sick of my stomach. So I'd just like your opinion on that and whether or not it's true. I think it is. CB mentioned it, and whatever he says is true. And I'll comment on it, and Steve, maybe you can tell us as an attorney, how can we do this? Thank you. God bless you.
All right. Good question. Thank you, John. Steve, are you familiar with this? CB talked about it in a recent posting, and we're going to try to, Daryl, see if we can line up Jack Donahue to come in and talk about that. Your thoughts, Steve?
Well, I don't know what CB said, and so anyway. But I do know that there has been a lot of writing about it, a lot of reporting of this issue recently. Last week or 2 weeks ago, essentially, Governor Jindal had made an announcement about the track getting really a wonderful project. The Indy 500 were coming down here for races, and so apparently what happened was that the governor, and this is what was reported. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I didn't see the hearing. But apparently, $4.5 million was promised to the track, and that the money was taken from the fund that John's referring to, and so there was only one person, that was Dan Clater, who actually opposed the transferring of the money. And Donahue said that the money would be repaid from to this fund from some other source. So that was in essence. And there's another component of this, and that is that the gentleman, the family that owns the track, they've put up like 120, I'm going to say, $1,000 to the general campaigns, I should say, over the years, and so, you know, it's
the Schwest family.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, they have a lot of marine interests.
Right.
Dr. Schwest, who's the major principal, I think he's done a terrific job with this.
No, I agree. Fantastic job.
You know, I mean, absolutely, and I think we should support it to the extent. Look, we support Tom Benson. No,
Boy, do
seriously,
we?
Yeah, we do. And from that standpoint, I think we should do whatever we can do to support vital economic development projects.
But we should have a fund set aside for such issues instead of taking it from those who need the money, especially those who are disabled. I mean, that's a real concern.
And we do have that fund actually started under Governor Foster. It actually was approved under Governor Blanco, and so we do have a fund. Here's the problem: we don't have enough revenues. We can talk till we're blue and white and green in the face about how well the state is doing in terms of our economy and having jobs and all, but our government is dysfunctional, you know, and we don't have the money. And so until we get that right, we're going to have these debates ongoing, and that's what we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
And that is the governor basically taking from different funds, not paying the bills, using
well, it's that dreaded one-time money.
Using one-time money that is now depleted, and so now, you know, robbing Paul to pay Peter.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and I don't blame Dr. Schwest. I mean, absolutely not. I mean, he's made a great investment. He sees other people, whether it's the movie industry or other industries, getting funding. And he's, you know, I mean, and he's bringing in jobs.
But I don't blame Senator Claytor for asking questions about how this transfer was being made, or CB or anybody else for being critical. So we're going to reach out to Senator Donahue to try to get some answers. You said that the money was going to be repaid. Do you know from where and when?
No. I maybe from the Jindal campaign fund. I don't know.
That's a very robust fund, by the way, because he does a lot of fundraising. He spends a lot of time on that.
Yeah. It really is a shame. No, I don't know. This is a big issue. I think that comes at the tail end of the of this session, and you know, it just shows. It's just evidence of the fact that, again, I think Louisiana government, in the way that we fund the government, is just absolutely dysfunctional and remain dysfunctional over the next couple of years. So when Bobby is able to get up there in the national scene, everybody down here, hopefully the 70 or 50 or whatever $billion projects that do come in, hopefully we'll all be able to have enough funds to pay for.
Hang on, Steve. We got to roll to a break. Steve Sabludowsky with us. Jeff Crouere here at Ringside WGSO. Coming up on 10 o'clock, time to get the latest from NBC News. Our talk line, 504-556-9696. We'll be back. WGSO 990 AM, New Orleans, Louisiana. 60 years of speaking easy, New Orleans style.
NBC News Radio, I'm Peter Alexander with the White House. The Supreme Court ruling on the death penalty, making it more difficult for states to impose the death penalty on prisoners who claim an intellectual disability. NBC's Pete Williams.
The ruling affects Florida and just a few other states like Florida that had adopted this very strict IQ point cutoff.
It's a day of mourning and reflection at UC Santa Barbara as the victims of Friday's shooting rampage will be remembered. NBC's Mike Taibbi.
The main memorial event scheduled for today is going to happen at 4 p.m. at the 17,000-seat Harder Stadium, and that's on the UC campus.
Police say 22-year-old Elliot Rodger killed 6 people and wounded 13 before taking his own life. U.S. manufacturing gets a boost. Orders for durable goods up 0.8 last month. Stocks higher in early trading. And an excellent opening for X-Men, Days of Future Past, raking in $111 million over the holiday weekend, becoming Marvel's 8th straight #1 film. Godzilla, #2 at $40 million. This is NBC News Radio. Home prices on the rise again. The Case-Shiller Index up sharply in March. Realtors spokesman Walter Maloney likes the trend.
We're showing a gain of 5.6% from a year ago. I don't look a whole lot into the month-to-month changes. The year-over-year changes are more meaningful in terms of appreciation.
Leading the home price gains, San Francisco and Seattle. More than 1,000 families in Alaska are back home 3 days after a huge wildfire on the Kenai Peninsula forced them to evacuate. The blaze burning more than 156,000 acres. You think you're wired in now? A new study says the explosion of mobile devices is reaching the point where by 2025, internet access will be as common as electricity. And Minnesota has become the 22nd state to allow broad use of medical marijuana. Another 9 states allow it for the treatment of seizure disorders, which means that more than half the country has gone to prescription pot since California began the trend in 1996. I'm Peter Alexander, NBC News Radio.
There is something about the road that beckons, that invites us to pack up the family and leave the world behind. And there is something about an industry-leading unlimited mileage warranty on a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz that gives us the freedom to do exactly that. You take to the highway, rack up the miles for up to 3 years, and drive with the assurance that your Mercedes-Benz is covered. You have the security of being in a car that has been certified to Mercedes-Benz standards, while you enjoy a carefree ownership experience for miles and miles. But while the mileage is unlimited, your time to take advantage of our certified pre-owned sales event is not. Now through June 2nd, you can also receive complimentary prepaid maintenance and a 2-month payment credit on select models, plus 3 months of Sirius XM satellite radio. So hurry into your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today and see why we say the odometer is there to record the memories.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
Wall Street remains on an upward course with the S&P 500 back in record territory. Chicken producer Pilgrim's Pride has made a $6.5 billion buyout offer to Hillshire, home to its namesake brands and Jimmy Dean sausage. According to the New York Times, Pilgrim's Pride is hoping to stop Hillshire's efforts to acquire Pinnacle Foods, announced earlier this month. Hillshire shares are up 22%, while Pinnacle down by 6%. This spring's crop of college grads may be carrying heavy student loan debt or worrying about finding a job. So is a college education still worth it? New numbers show a 4-year college degree has never been more valuable. The Economic Policy Institute found that Americans with college degrees made 98% more an hour than people without a degree. Economists at MIT say we have too few college grads and not enough students who are prepared for college. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 75 points, the Nasdaq gaining 41, the S&P up 10. I'm Ann Cates at MarketWatch.com.
Get more control over your small business with ADT Security Services. Through June 1st, get $250 instant savings on select ADT business packages. Get 24/7 burglary monitoring, a motion detector, 2 wireless cameras, and a lot less worries about your business. Call ** ADT from your cell phone. That's ** 238. It's savings made simple. ADT, their business is helping your business.
36-month monitoring contract required. For applicable terms and conditions and full list of license numbers, please visit ADT.com.
I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I have some important information for you regarding the U.S. government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. Nearly 3 million homeowners have already taken advantage of this money-saving program. The home loan experts at Quicken Loans fully understand the HARP guidelines and will strive to find the financial solution that's best for you. To learn more, call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com.
Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
For Ringside Politics with a Punch. Here's your host from ABC 26, the Conifer, the Kenner Star, KTV, City Business, and WLAE. It's WGSO's own Jeff Crouere.
All right, welcome back. Jeff Crouere here. Thanks for joining us. One more segment with our special guest, Steve Sabludowsky. And he is, of course, publisher of Bayoubuzz.com and Ringside All-Star, who checks in with us on Tuesdays. And Steve, welcome back. How you doing?
Thank you, Jeff. And I'm doing fine. Yourself?
Good. Boost up your mic a little bit. You're a little bit low, so see if we can get that volume up, and that would be much appreciated. All right. Okay. A little bit better. Yeah. A little bit better. All right. Sure. There you go. 504-556-96962. Join us. Steve, let's get back to the phone calls and see who is joining us next. We've got our friend Rick in Metairie. What's going on, Rick? Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning to Steve. Look, you're all the time talking about Jindal and all his driving around and flying around the United States for the Republican Party and his fundraisers and everything else. Why can't you ask the president that question? How come he flies around and rides around and goes on vacation more than he actually spends in the White House? And the only time he ever hears about a scandal is when we hear about it on the news. That's kind of funny situation there, you know. It's kind of like calling the kettle black, you know. Touching on the topic I was speaking before, real briefly and quickly, I want to say one thing. The Korean refugees in 1950, when the Chosen War went on, to honor and respect of them vets, to this day, the schools, each classroom takes a section of the cemetery where the heroes were fallen and buried, and they cut it with a pair of scissors. And to this day, any of the survivors of that war, Korean War, they get free, and this is paid for by the Koreans, free flight fare, hotel fare, food accommodations, and everything else to this very day. That's how much honor and respect they have for the fallen warriors that fought for their freedom, and we can't even show ours that much respect.
All right, my friend, appreciate it very much. Of course, Memorial Day was yesterday, and I think we all should have taken time to reflect on the heroes who have given so much to this country and provided for our freedom. But I appreciate Rick's comments. He initially started talking about Obama and all his travel, associating that with Jindal and his travel. Is that just a function of being in one of these jobs that you have to do a lot of travel, Steve?
Oh, no, not at all. As far as the President Obama, I'll put it like this. I have not compared, maybe you have, I haven't compared his travels to that of George Bush, his vacations, golf, and so on, whether it's George Bush or Bill Clinton or the other presidents. I mean, I haven't done that. Maybe you have, and if it's completely out of sync, then please, you know, I know you'll write about it. I know you've written about it.
It is out of sync.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I've also written about Jindal's travels being out of sync.
Sure. You know, I think the difference is, and I think the difference is that you know, the governor promised us that he would be working every hour of the day, every minute of the day on the issues of Louisiana, and you know, he could have done like Sarah Palin. And that is that he could have, you know, knowing
well, that's what I recommended, that he resign and focus on his national ambitions.
Sure. You know, again, if Louisiana was doing as well as, say, Texas and some of the other states, then that'd be great. but we're not doing as well at all. Yes, unemployment. Let's give it to the general administration for that, and because we are, I think, number one in terms of the South, and I think a lot should be said. However, let me just say this: I think we should have this debate. Is the reason why Louisiana is doing so well? Is it because of the fracking? Is it because of the natural gas? Is it because of the liquid gas? Is it because of the just the whole change in the economy as relates to energy in this part of the country? And people I've talked to definitely feel like that's a large part of the reason. I don't know. I'm not an economist, but I would like to have that kind of discussion.
Well, I think it's part of the reason, and I think you got to look at other things like the film industry. I mean, that's been booming, and I think you see a lot of entrepreneurs coming to this state, and certainly New Orleans area has been growing, and I think, folks have to say that in some respects, Jindal has been successful as far as keeping the unemployment rate down. But when you look at the overall record, the state budget is a mess, as we talked about earlier. We're looking at a massive budget deficit, according to some analysts. We have problems with higher ed. We got problems with all kinds of different areas of state government. I think if he were here more often managing the problems here, I think I'd certainly feel better about the job he was doing. And right now, I think the concerns about his travel are very legitimate, and I'm glad Tyler Bridges asked him about it. I'm not surprised that he shuffled around and danced around the question and didn't answer it. That's sort of par for the course for him. All right, let's take some more calls. Jeff Crouere here, Steve Sabludowsky with us. It's Ringside WGSO. Our friend James in Metairie is with us. What's going on, James? Good morning, sir.
Well, Jeff, good morning, and hello, Steve. Jeff, all morning long, it's pretty much following the same old pattern every day. Obama bashing, bashing liberals and Democrats. We found out this morning, and we need to check into that. This psycho shooter out in California claim was made he's a Democrat. Oh, yeah, I'm sure he was a really active Democrat. Yeah, guys like that, Jeff, are usually, could give a bleep about politics. The guy had a mental disorder. But, of course, a lot of people of faith dismiss psychology as being satanic, as being a false gospel. The individual talked about these so-called disgraceful school psychologists about the kid having Asperger's. Yeah, it's a mental problem. That's his problem. It's a mental problem. And, there's usually a chemical imbalance. That's what we need to solve. And who's taking away your guns? We hear all this talk about, they're going to take away our guns. Name some groups, even that want to take away your guns. Even Sarah Brady doesn't want to take away your guns. But we hear that lie every day, over and over, and some people actually believe it. Now, as far as Louisiana and Jindal, Steve's right. The low unemployment rate, he should get a big thumbs up on that. However, Jim Cramer's group last week now ranks Louisiana as the 5th dumbest state in America. Why is that? Well, look at the educational level. There's only 21.4 people in this percent, 21.4% of the adults, I guess you would say, that have a bachelor's degree. We're a dumb state. We're a poor state. And always remember that it wasn't for the federal government sending, according to this, $1.35 from Washington every day for every dollar sent to Washington. This state is a welfare state.
I mean, but to be fair, you can't blame Jindal for that. I mean, those are trends that have been going on for decades and decades.
People bash Washington, they bash liberals, and you know where that money comes from, Jeff? To keep this welfare, this Venezuela of the North.
Taxpayers?
It
Taxpayers?
comes from the blue states. The
taxpayers
in blue, Republican, liberal states like New Jersey and New York.
I think James, and we unfortunately lost you there, but I think, James, we have a lot of folks here in this state who pay taxes too. I mean, there are a lot of folks who are getting, I think, screwed over here in Louisiana as far as what we're getting from the federal government. Look at the oil and gas revenues. We're not getting our fair share of that, are we, Steve, from the federal government?
From what I understand, no, we're not. But certainly, I don't think we should dismiss what James is saying, and that is in terms of, we basically, the state is on welfare in terms of taxes compared to other states, and so what gets me is this, that in terms of this whole tax issue and the governor, the governor is always trying to not take the Obama money every opportunity he has, except when he goes around with the big major checks and not disclose that it's coming from stimulus. So, but he when it comes to other money, other than the Obama money, except for when we had BP, it's, hey, where's the federal government? So that's where I think that this inconsistency is. And Jindal cannot be blamed for our dependency upon state and federal government from the past. No, we can't. But there is an inconsistency that he is, because he's running for governor and because he's not taking this, this other, quote, federal money, well, from a philosophical standpoint, don't take the other money that we've had before.
All right, Steve, we got to roll to another commercial break, and then we've got another guest joining us. Thanks so much. Folks, check it out at BayouBuzz.com. When we come back, the chaplain, Gordon James Klingenschmidt, is going to be joining us on Ringside.
I'm Rob Maginnis, and here in Louisiana, you'll learn to be tough. One moment of weakness, the alligators can eat you alive.